And welcome back to the Steven Universe discussions by the SpiffyNeedleGeeks. It is once again Brawl Fan 1, Kenshi Immortal Wolf, and Mashetsu Rises. Today we are on Steven vs. Amethyst, an episode full of angst and sorrow.
You know what was hilarious? Everybody saw this episode title and was scared out of their goddamn minds. Because it's an episode title that dropped with the Kindergarten Kid title. So there were speculations about it was going to be another Amethyst, or it was going to be a fight in kindergarten, or it's going to be Amethyst gets corrupted. And it turns out to be passive-aggressive complimenting one another.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, the title is so vague that it's like everybody, probably had their own ideas as to what the hell was going to happen. I don't think anyone was going to expect what happened.
No one expected. Everybody flipped their shit on the title, and then everybody conveniently flipped their shit back the other way after the episode aired.
I mean, it makes sense how, piggybacking from the previous episode, that it's like, of course the big culmination of this episode would be like a sparring match between Steven and Amethyst. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. And the whole fact that, Amethyst is recognizing how Steven's just hauling all kinds of ass now, that it's like, okay, I see where this is going. They're going to have a sparring match and one's going to get their ass kicked, and it's going to be a very humbling experience and stuff. But it's like, again, what I don't think anybody was expecting was that even though they're pretty equal in strength, they were just yelling at each other about how much, they themselves sucked compared to the other one.
Which is nothing new for Amethyst. I'm, sad, that's so fucking sad to say. But has Steven really ever been that, has Steven ever been that purposefully self-hating of himself, or was he only doing that to try to make Amethyst feel better?
I would say it was probably more so for Amethyst's sake, because Steven, I don't recall Steven really mentioning a self-loathing. I mean, he can admit his faults, but never coming off as self-loathing or anything.
It's honestly, it's something that's more new to Steven than a lot of people think about. They either try to think it's something really old, or they try to think of it as entirely just made up on the spot. But it is something that we've seen a few times with the episodes leading up to the Summer of Steven, with things dealing with the barn, with the cluster. Particularly, I think the biggest hint that this was coming was in the episode Steven Floats. And then subsequently Mr. Greg. Because this was something we were kind of hinted at. It's not so much that he's self-loathing, so much as he's dealing with the fact that he has to deal with who his mom is without having any idea how to feel about who his mom is and how he relates to his mom.
Wait, what does that have to do with this here?
Well, it's kind of obvious. The way the fight ends, BJ. What does he say?
I actually forgot. I haven't seen the episode in a while.
When they finish the fight and they both trip, Amethyst asks, "Do you know what it feels like to not be the thing you're supposed to be?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm not rose quartz."
Oh, right.
Wow, BJ, you insensitive prick.
Well, I haven't seen the episode in a while, sorry. But
I have only seen the episode once, and I remember that.
We probably should actually rewatch this shit before we
Yes!
Anyway.
For me, I watch an episode once, unless it's, really good and I have to watch it again immediately. Because, to me, a good show sticks with you even after one sitting.
Yeah.
And I'll rewatch it once it's done.
That's definitely a good speculation. Well, not even just a speculation. That's more than likely what it is as well. But, even then, even if you look at, the beginning of the episode, well, not really the beginning of the episode, more so, like right before they fight, is, when Steven lets Amethyst beat the game. That's kind of the beginning of where Steven, realizes, maybe I should try to help her feel better. Regardless of such. Though, that's probably where it started from. And then more than likely, all the self-loathing he was doing to himself probably did instigate and remind himself that, people do compare him to rose quartz a lot.
Yeah, it's not something that's really so much what Steven does. Steven hasn't been self-loathing, but he's grappling with something similar with how people have been treating him and how he has to relate to someone he's never known. Particularly when he lets Amethyst win and she gets upset and she says, "Oh, great, now you're even more mature than me." Steven gets mad because it's one of those things where it feels like a double standard. You all wanted me to be stronger, but now that I'm stronger, you're still mad at me.
Well, that's just petty on Amethyst's part, though.
It is, but it is how it would feel to somebody in his situation. Not understanding what Amethyst is going through and with dealing with, Garnet, Pearl, and Amethyst, they all love Steven, but there's always been that air of them missing Rose and, trying to figure out their lives after Rose is gone, because she's only been gone 14 years and she's been there 5,000 years, So even if they don't mean to, they still project some of that onto him, and he has to grow up with that. And it's been more true in the more recent episodes, especially, like I said, Steven floats. What makes me happy? Mom? Oh god, those thoughts are complicated. Or, in Mr. Greg, you, me, Pearl, and Mom. And it's like, what the fuck kind of was that? A lot of this, it's not so much Steven, like, Amethyst is self-loathing. Steven is... I don't really think there's a word for that, actually. But he doesn't really hate himself. He's just confused about himself. And I don't know. There's really not a word for that.
Which, actually, thinking about it even more, is a good lead-up for what happens in the next episode, too, so...
It was... Yeah.
I guess we'll get to that when we get to it. I don't know, though. There really wasn't too much else for this episode. Like, literally, the biggest point of this episode was to just kind of help Amethyst get out of her funk.
Her
it
wasn't complete, but there was one thing. Steven's bubble now comes with mace mode. Fucking smashing in spikes. Like, what the... Like, I wonder if that was something Rose could do, or if that's something unique to Steven, because Amethyst said, is that new? And it's like, it's not like the bubble or the shield where Rose could do that. She did not seem to recognize that ability.
Well, I mean... something tells me that more than likely Amethyst didn't really see the extent of Rose's... Like, Garnet and Pearl may recognize something like that, but Amethyst, who wasn't around during the Gem Wars, more than likely wouldn't have... probably didn't really know the extent of Rose's powers because she probably didn't need to really excel them that much.
Yeah, that's true, but we haven't seen Rose or Garnet react... not Rose, Pearl or Garnet react to it. So, until then, it's entirely possible that this ability is unique to Steven, or at least something that Rose Quartz could have done but never did since she's not an offensive gem. It is a very offensive ability.
Well, I think, and we kind of learned this in the later episodes as well, I think it's less the fact that it specifically becomes a mace, and more that he just now has the power to shapeshift the bubble.
To an extent, yeah. Though he does use that specific ability a few other times.
Probably because it's the only one he knows how to do right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh well. In which case, any more thoughts?
Ow.
No, not really. No, I think you guys pretty much, hit everything important.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Alrighty.
That's okay.
Well, in any which case, join us next time for the big reason why Kenshi even wanted to come back to these, like so suddenly, for the big episode, the 100th...
Well, I mean, I wanted to be here the whole time. I just, you guys just went on without me. I just wanted to really get on this episode, if nothing else.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I really did want, if nothing else, to be on the next episode. Because, oh my god, there's so much to talk about.
Yes, the 100th episode, Bismuth. We'll see you then.
Bismuth.